at the Angelika Film Center with J.C. Chandor, the writer and the director of Margin Call.
Yes.
And Margin Call is about the first sort of 24 hours of the financial crisis from the point of view of a Wall Street investment bank. And congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's your first time a writer and director of a feature film, right?
Correct. I've been at it for a long, long time. I've been directing television commercials, documentaries, whatever else anyone would sort of throw my way for going on 15 years. But finally put this together, and it sort of has snowballed into this amazing sort of experience. With this cast and everyone from that helped make it happen. It's been unbelievably rewarding.
Yeah. And why was this particular story important for you to tell?
I thought I could bring, interestingly, kind of looking back on it, I thought I could bring a point of view to the topic that I'm not sure anyone else, well, I shouldn't say anyone else, but that I just thought I could bring an interesting point of view to the subject. I wrote it in the late fall, winter of 2008, and I had tried to go kind of augment my film career with in the real estate world. And so I had gotten, and I still do love real estate, but I had always, I tried to go off and make some money just like everyone else sort of was at that time. So I learned from the inside a little bit about what was going on and how things were happening, and we ended up buying this very large building, a project that was way bigger than what we should have been able to take on. But a bank very recklessly sort of loaned us this huge amount of money to buy, for me, a huge amount of money to buy this building and renovate it. And so I had really seen that whole sort of process from the inside. And then my father had worked at an investment bank, for my whole life, basically for 35, 40 years. So I grew up in communities with investment bankers surrounded, in suburban New York City and London, kind of surrounded by, either the children of or of bankers, and watched kind of why they made the decisions that they did, what influenced them, what pressures were put on them from different places, and potentially why we were where we were when the world sort of the wheels started falling off of it here. So and then I'd lived in New York City, frankly, my entire adult life, and so had also watched a lot of my friends go into this world, and sort of had, so if the younger characters, Penn Badgley's character, Zachary's character, had watched them, get roped into this world for whatever reasons they were. So all of that came together, and I sat down and wrote a script.
And you wrote and directed, and
Yes.
What was it like wearing both of those hats?
Tremendous, tremendously advantageous as a first-time filmmaker, I would say, especially with a cast. Interestingly, I didn't write this to sort of have this. I hadn't quite dreamed that this was going to be my cast when I sat down to write it. So to have this kind of caliber, Penn Badgley's character, not Penn Badgley's character, Penn Badgley is, the least experienced person in our cast, and he's been a professional actor supporting, himself and some members of his family, I think, for going on 10 years, so he's a pretty experienced guy, and he was the least experienced, actor of the bunch. So, having written the material, it just was tremendously advantageous. Obviously, the actors, the reason any actor signs on to a very, very low budget film with a first-time filmmaker is usually the script is really all they have to kind of go by. So in this case, the fact that I had written the script and that it was about a topic that is fairly complex and that admittedly they are actors and didn't know that much about, really gave me sort of on the surface, a leg up. And they, and even if it wasn't the case, if I needed to be giving someone a note and didn't want to hurt their ego, I could say, well, this is just the way it's done in the industry or something, and they sort of took it at face value. But no, it was a dream come true. Obviously, it's what I've been hoping to do for a long, long time.
Yeah. What do you hope moviegoers take away from this film?
Yeah, I think it's obviously coming out sort of this fall when there's a lot of things happening. And certainly the Occupy movement of people finally kind of literally getting out into the streets and complaining about this finally. I think the film, at least lets you into a world with much of it, that most of us sort of had, interestingly, probably very specific ideas about what was going on in that world, but didn't actually really know, who those people are to a certain extent and what they cared about and why. It's really the decision-making process, I think, to make sure that it's not just sort of pure greed. It's sort of a lot more complicated than that, unfortunately, and for the same reasons that all of us put identity, our identity into our work and what we do, and our self-worth and ego and all the things that you sort of build up, especially in a career, a long-standing career, and then you throw in the kind of money that they're making on top of it, it becomes something that's very, very difficult to walk away from, obviously. And so, hopefully the film tries to not ever make sort of caricatures of these people and tries to treat them as humans and making human decisions. And then if we're trying to get people to change and we're trying to make change to a system, it's pretty important to understand who you're asking to change.
What can moviegoers look out for next? What do you got next on the docket?
Hopefully we're a couple days away from announcing that, but in the independent film world, things can fall apart a lot. But I have had a wonderful opportunity. I have 2 young children and a family to support, and so I've been doing some writing for on some studio projects just to help actually make a little money for myself and my family. And then on the directing side, I'm in the process, hopefully, of putting something together very soon, which I'm not going to jinx myself and talk about, but it's very, very different. I will say that much, very different than this film. But a dream come true to even be talking about what I get to do next. That's pretty exciting.
If you were going to make a movie about your life, would you be the hero or the villain, and what would you title it?
About my life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. That's I would be the hero. I would never want to play the villain in my own life, my own life story, I think. But I would title it, I'm not sure what I would title it. Lucky, I think, is what I'd title it.
All right. Well, JC, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
And Margin Call is now playing at the Angelika Film Center.